Imagine it's late at night and everything feels normal. Maybe you're scrolling your phone, maybe you're half asleep on the couch, or maybe you're just getting a glass of water before bed. The house is quiet. The street outside is calm. Nothing feels unusual. Then suddenly your phone vibrates with a sound you've never heard before, louder than any notification. Every screen around you lights up with the same message: ballistic missile threat inbound. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. Outside, the sirens begin screaming through the city. Car alarms echo down the street. Somewhere people are yelling while somewhere else someone is crying. And for a moment you just stand there trying to process what is happening. Here's the truth most people never think about. If a global war ever begins, the first 24 hours will decide almost everything. Survival in that moment isn't about strength or bravery, it's about decisions. Quick decisions before panic takes over. So if a world war started tonight, there are 6 things you should do immediately to give yourself the best chance of surviving the first day. The first step is breaking the moment of panic. When something this serious happens, the brain often refuses to accept it. People freeze, stare at their phones, and wait for someone else to explain what's going on. That hesitation wastes precious time. The fastest way to break it is simple. Acknowledge the situation and act. Say it out loud if you have to. Alert received, find shelter now. Speaking the words forces your brain into action, and once you move, the next decisions become easier. If you're inside a building, move toward the most protected part of it. Stay away from windows and stay away from exterior walls facing the outside world. Basements provide the best protection because layers of earth and concrete absorb radiation effectively. But if there's no basement, then interior spaces like bathrooms, closets, and hallways work well too. The idea is simple: the more solid material between you and the outside environment, the safer you become. If the alert happens while you are outside, forget about your car and forget about trying to drive somewhere else. Vehicles offer almost no protection against blast pressure or radiation. Instead, run toward the nearest strong building you can find. Concrete buildings are ideal. Brick and stone structures work well too. Anything with thick walls is better than open space. Avoid buildings with large glass windows because blast waves can turn shattered glass into dangerous debris. A nuclear explosion creates several dangers at once. First comes an intense flash of heat capable of burning exposed skin. Then the blast wave arrives seconds later, strong enough to shatter windows and throw debris through the air. After that comes radiation, invisible and silent but capable of damaging cells long after the explosion itself. Solid materials like soil, brick, and concrete absorb much of that radiation, which is why barriers between you and the outside world are so important. Once you reach a safer interior space, the next step is strengthening that space quickly. Look around and identify weak points, especially windows. If there are windows nearby, block them using whatever you can find. Mattresses, couch cushions, heavy furniture, even stacks of books can add extra layers of protection. You're not building a perfect bunker, you're simply adding density between you and the outside environment, and every layer helps. After that, gather the basic supplies you might need while staying inside for a while. Water should always be your first priority. Grab bottled water if you have it, then fill containers from sinks while the plumbing still works. Pots, bottles, pitchers, even the bathtub can store water. During large emergencies, water systems can fail quickly, so the more you store early on, the better your chances later. Food matters too, but it comes after water. Choose items that last a long time and require no cooking. Things like canned food, protein bars, nuts, or packaged snacks. Flashlights and spare batteries are also important because power outages are common during major crises. If you have a battery-powered radio, keep it nearby, since official emergency broadcasts may become the most reliable source of information. Another important step is protecting yourself from fallout. Fallout is made of tiny radioactive particles that rise into the air after an explosion and later drift back down onto buildings and streets. These particles can contaminate surfaces and air, which is why reducing outside airflow into your shelter helps. Close windows and block small gaps with towels or clothing so dust cannot easily drift inside. At the same time, avoid sealing a room completely airtight. You still need a small amount of airflow so oxygen can circulate. Leaving a tiny opening under a door or in a higher part of the room allows air to move slowly while still reducing outside contamination. These small adjustments can significantly lower exposure during the most dangerous hours. Once you are sheltered and supplies are collected, the next challenge is managing them carefully. Drink water slowly instead of all at once so your supply lasts longer. Stay calm, limit unnecessary movement, and conserve energy. Food should be eaten in small portions simply to maintain strength rather than comfort. Another challenge during disasters is misinformation. Phones and social media will quickly fill with rumors, dramatic videos, and alarming headlines. Some of it may be real, but much of it will be speculation or outdated information. Constantly scrolling through those posts increases anxiety and makes it harder to think clearly. Instead, rely on official emergency broadcasts whenever possible and avoid getting pulled into the panic online. Eventually, you may hear activity outside your building. Cars starting, people talking, maybe someone suggesting everyone should leave the area immediately. That instinct to run somewhere safer can feel overwhelming. However, during the first hours after a nuclear event, the outside environment may still contain dangerous levels of fallout. Roads can become gridlocked with panicked drivers, and traveling through contaminated areas without protection increases exposure dramatically. For that reason, the safest decision in many situations is staying where you are until authorities provide clear evacuation instructions. Sheltering in place allows time for radiation levels to decrease and gives emergency services the chance to organize safer routes if relocation becomes necessary. The first day of a global conflict would not look like the action scenes people imagine in movies. Survival during that time depends on calm thinking and discipline, finding shelter quickly, strengthening your environment, protecting yourself from fallout, conserving water, ignoring misinformation, and resisting the urge to panic can make all the difference. The outside world might feel chaotic and uncertain, but if you remain calm and stay protected inside your shelter, you greatly increase your chances of making it through those first crucial hours. And if the first 24 hours pass while you are still breathing and still protected, then you have already overcome the most dangerous moment of all.